What's up, soldiers? Your boy Chris here. Vibesing up in the kitchen as usual. A few days before St. Patrick's Day, a lot of requests for shepherd's pie. I have been eating shepherd's pie. Well, mom's been making shepherd's pie for us 25 years at least when we were kids down in the Caribbean. So though it is not necessarily a Caribbean thing, it is cooked in the Caribbean. So today we're doing a shepherd's pie. You're going to see my personal differences in there. In the Caribbean, we love to use the herbs and stuff like that. That's going in there. Vibes it up, man. Shepherd's pie, wicked. I've got about a pound and a half of ground beef here. And I know traditionalists will say, you got to be using lamb, Chris. Peep this for a second. Yeah, so the price of lamb is very expensive. Plus, I don't really like the sort of gamey flavor I get with it. So I much prefer using ground beef. I'm just going to brown this off just to start. You really want to break it up into small, tiny pieces. Nobody ain't looking for no big, chunky piece of meat in there, you know. Brown that off. The meat is finished browning, but if you notice, just pushing it back to the side here. Even though this was labeled as lean ground beef, this is a ton of fat there. So what I'm going to do is remove most of that fat, leave back about a tablespoon or so, and then start adding the other ingredients. We've got nice crumbled pieces of beef there. It's fully cooked all the way through. I'm going to go in with some black pepper. And all the ingredients here that I use will be mentioned in the description. Some Worcestershire sauce. Salt. Now I'm going to be going in with beef broth, so I'm going to hold back on that salt because that beef broth will certainly have that element of sodium in there. Now the thing about us in the Caribbean, we love flavor and we love herbs, so you're going to find it's going to be, this is a Caribbean version more than anything else. It's not your traditional Irish way of doing it. Some parsley, some scallion, and I've got some diced celery. And I'm going to turn my heat down on low and let that soften up a little bit. I've got some fresh thyme here on the stems, baby stems. I'm going to remove the stems later on. And just let that cook there on a low heat for about 3 or 4 minutes. Next up, I'm going to go in with a little touch of ground allspice or pimento. And I've got one medium-sized carrot that I just diced up there. Heat still on low, give that a stir and let everything come together, you know. Kitchen smelling wicked already, boy. Wosa. I just added about 3/4 cups of frozen peas there. I'm going to turn up my heat now and we're going to go in with some beef broth. Bring that up to a boil and then we're going to let it sort of simmer away for about 20 to 25 minutes just to tender up everything and bring everything together, you know. I think I may have said allow this to simmer. You want it to be on a rolling boil, sort of vigorous, because you want to burn off and reduce all of that liquid so you get that nice intense flavor going on. As this comes together, over here I have my potatoes, and that's just about 7 large Yukon Gold potatoes that I'm just boiling off in salted water. Milk, butter, mash, that's it. And then we're going to assemble everything once everything comes together. One key ingredient I forgot to mention that needs to go in here is some tomato paste. And it's just about a tablespoon or so of tomato paste. That's going to help everything go nice and rich. I'm just going to work that in. And ideally you want to add it earlier so the sweetness of that tomato will really come out, you know. It'll probably take about 20-25 minutes or so for most of that liquid to burn off. We want to get all of that liquid out. And here's where I usually remove the stems of that thyme that we started off with. No fun with that in there. Just burn off all that liquid and then we're going to get ready to assemble everything, providing we finish the mashed potatoes, right? Here I've got my oven-proof dish and the cooked ground beef. Yep, we're not doing traditional here. If you're using ground lamb, I ain't hating. I just cannot afford that, you know. Just gonna sort of press it down, and all we have to do now is top it with that mashed potato. Earlier I said the mashed potato is simply And if you want to add a bit more flavor to this mashed potato so it's not too bland, you can certainly go in with some chopped scallions in there, as well as some grated white cheddar. You're talking about taking this mashed potato to a whole new level. I just want to add a bit more milk to this. Remember, all we have in here is butter, milk, salt, pepper. That's it. I went in with that mashed potato in little heaps here, and all you want to do now is use a fork and sort of press it in just to work it in. If you try doing this, we don't want to mix the potato and the meat all together. I'm just going to keep working this, pressing it down, and I've got a little bit more potato there. I'm just going to add to the top here. All ready to go into the oven now, 375 degrees for about 25 minutes or so until everything bubbles and comes together. So here you go, friends. Chris's version, Caribbean version of shepherd's pie. Gotta love that. Is it still bubbling? It was bubbling earlier. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. This will not be posted on Caribbean Pot. It will be posted on my secondary website, ChrisDelaRosa.com, so you can check it out there if you want the written instructions.